This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos Daf Mem Vav Amud Beis. We're holding a Mem Vav Amud Beis. We are 6 lines down. The first one line is Avya. Excuse me. The Gemara begins with a stira. Ramli Abaya le Rabba. Abaya asks to Rabba. It's going to be a stira within Rav Shimon. As we remind ourselves, we're within the world of Muksa. Rav Shimon Leslie Muksa, Rav Yehuda Islay Muksa. When we say Rav Shimon Leslie Muksa, of course, that does not mean entirely. That means in the global sense. But of course, we've already seen numerous exceptions. But continues the Gemara, Ramli Abayil Rabba Tanya. Meiser Hashem and Shem and Ever Shem Kaira Asur. The leftover oil in a lamp or a bowl is Asur. Even after the fire goes out, you have oil that was on fire is Asur. Rav Shimon Matir, Alma, what do we see? Rav Shimon Leslie Muksa. Okay, so far that sounds good. We knew that. Remenu, I'll ask you a stira. Rav Shimon Aimer, Kol Shin Mumanikum Her Rav Yom Toiv. We have an animal that if the mum was not nicker, the defect in this animal is not recognizable before Yontif, Ein Ze Min Hamuchan. Then it's not considered prepared and cannot be shechted. We're talking about a bachar which should be brought as a carbon. But if the animal has a mum, then it is not. And therefore, the question is, again, different type of mumim. You have to have a mum kavua, permanent mum. Then it belongs to the kayin, and the kayin eats it and shechs it. So the question is this animal considered muchan, prepared? Says Rav Shimon, no. Since you didn't recognize the mum in Erev Yontif, so it began Yontif thinking, well, it didn't begin, it's an animal, but you began Yontif thinking that it is a bechar, you cannot shacht it. So says the Gemara, what do we see? We see Rav Shimon holds on Muksa. Answers the Gemara, Hachiyashta. 12 lines down, the first one line is Hasam. When it comes to the candle, the person is waiting anxiously. When's the candle going out? Why? Because he needs the oil. The salad needs a little extra oil. So he's waiting. When's the candle going to go out? And he'll have his oil. And therefore, says Rav Shimon, a chiddush, even though during Bein HaShemashis it's on fire, but because you're worrying, you're not necessarily worrying, but you're waiting for the candle to go out, therefore, it is not muksa. Whereas hacha, in our case, but in our case, a person is waiting. When will it become a mum? Of course not. You don't want it to have a mum. Firstly, who says it's going to get a mum? Secondly, who says it's mum kavua? Who says I'm able to find the chacham to say that it's a mum kavua? So the kayin knows there's numerous steps before this animal will get the stamp that he'll be able to eat it. So he's not waiting the whole time to get a mum. Meaning, I'm sorry, I said it not that he doesn't want a mum. But even if he gets a mum, there's numerous problems. What type of mum? Is it mum kavua? Does he have a chacham? And that's the reason why in that case, Rav Shimon holds, it is muksa. Masiv Rami Bar Chama. Remember, Chama is not happy with his teretz of Rabba. Meifir Nidarim B'Shabbos, says the Mishnah, we're allowed to be made for Nidar to annul a vow on Shabbos. 4 lines from the white lines. V'nishal Nidarim Chain L'Tzarech Shabbos. And you're allowed to be asking a neder if it is a tzarech Shabbos. So if a woman says, I'm not going to eat a certain food, her husband's allowed to be made for the neder, then she can eat it. V'amai, what's the reason? Maybe she thinks, who says my husband's going to annul it? Who says my husband's going to do it? So just like we just said when it comes to the animal, that because you don't know with precision that you're going to be able to eat it, when it came to the oil in the candle, there you know. Fire goes out, I got my oil. But when it came to the mum, you don't know if it didn't get a mum. If it gets a mum, what type of mum? You're going to be able to find the chacham. So we said it's muksa. So over here also, why don't we say that the woman should not be able to eat it because she doesn't know if she'll be able to annul it? Says the Gemara, meaning, to put it a drop deeper, the item should be muksa. Meaning, because even if she doesn't know the vow, she didn't know that she's going to be able to get that item on Shabbos. Answers the Gemara, 2 lines from the wide lines. Hasam A different din. A woman who makes a neder is aldas, is with understanding that it's all up to her husband, and that's the reason why if her husband Lamaisi goes in and knows it, therefore she'll be allowed to eat that food. Tashima continues the Gemara. 1 second. Said if it's a Torah Shabbos, it can be no. That's the first case. The second case was talking about a woman and her husband. But the first case it said, L'Torah Shabbos, you can be made for a neder. Why? You can't be made for a neder on your own. You need a chacham to be made for your neder. Who says you're going to get a chacham to be made for your neder? Answers the Gemara. What happens if you don't find the chacham? There's another way to do it. You form a bezdin. 3 simple people. Chacham. Whereas in the case of the Bachar, that's a special din in Bachar. Miyemar to bizakli chacham. You need to have a chacham. So that's the reason why by Bachar it's going to remain muktzah according to Rav Shimon, even though in these other cases it will not, because in these other cases you will be able to have a chacham that is annulling the vow. Rami le Abaya le Rabba. And that really concludes the Shaila on Rav Shimon for now. But now the Gemara goes back. Goes all the way back to Avim Daled Amud Aleph, that the Gemara over there discussed that according to Rav Shimon, once the candle goes out, you let him move the ner. So Rami le Abaya le Rabba, Rami le Abaya le Rav Yosef, asks Abaya to Rav Yosef on the 4th wide line, Miyam Rav Shimon. Does Rav Shimon really say that when the candle goes out, you're allowed to move it? Which would mean kavsa like kavsa lai, which would mean that only after it goes out, you're allowed to move it, but before Rav Shimon would not allow you to move it. My taima, what is the reason that Rav Shimon will not allow you to move the candle while it is burning? Because as you're moving it, what might happen? It's an oil lamp. You might extinguish it by accident. But what's the problem? A different Rav Shimon. Rav Shimon, Motor. We know we've had many times Rav Shimon holds the Tanya. Rabbi Shimon, you let it drag a bench, a chair, or a bed, as long as you don't have intention to make the ditch. So according to Rav Shimon, Miskaven is Motor. So when I'm moving the candle, if it will go out, I don't know. It's an Miskaven. So why does Rav Shimon say you're not allowed to do it while the fire is burning? Answers Rav Yosef, now we get a unique Hagdara within the world of Rav Shimon. Says Rav Yosef, any time that if one would happen would be a de'araisa, then even without kavana, Rav Shimon holds it's usher as a din derabanan. But any time that if you were to do it, it would only be a derabanan, then Rav Shimon. Show you Rav Shimon lechatchala. So depends. Are we playing with fire, literally a daraisa? Then Rav Shimon folds and says you can't do it. Psik Reisha. Darshan Miskaven on a daraisa says Rabbi Yosef Rav Shimon is going to be maskim too. It's only on a derabanan he's going to be mekel. Masiv Rava 4 lines on the bottom. You're selling clothing. You're allowed to sell it regularly. The problem is it might have shatnez on it. Says the Gemara, as long as when you try it on, you don't have kavana that the garment should save you from the sun, or ubi gishamim in the rain, there gishamim, then you're allowed to try it on. Vatsnuim. But the tznuim, the pious ones, the discreet ones, this was those who would sell the items, they would wear it. So they wouldn't actually wear it at all, they would hang it on a stick behind them. What's the problem? That if they wear this item with kavana, chaniz, it's a deraisa. And yet what do we see? So we see you can't say like Rav Yosef says we've seen deraisa derabanan. Ella, my Rava comes along Rava and says a new pshat as we turn over to Mem Zayin and Aleph. Hanach l'ner shemen u'psila. Don't discuss the case of the shemen, the ner, and the psila. Hayov and asabasis ledavar aser. A new yisoid. The flame is muksa. the oil is muksa, the cup is muksa, the candlestick is muksa. Basis goes all the way from the top, all the way down, and even Rav Shimon will be maskim. He'll hold once it goes out, you can move it. But while it is lit, Rav Shimon will be maskim that it is asr. And I'll pick it up from here, b'siyata dishmaya.